Eala left Manila carrying something no airport scale could ever measure. An entire nation was traveling with her. Only days earlier, she had been surrounded by Philippine flags, emotional fans, and families who saw more than a tennis player standing in front of them. They saw proof. Proof that someone from the Philippines could walk onto the biggest courts in the world and belong there. Proof that a dream once considered almost impossible could become real. Then the celebration ended. The cameras changed. The crowds disappeared. The flight doors closed. Alex turned toward the American hardcourt swing. Washington would not care how loudly Manila had welcomed her home. The hard court would not remember the speeches, the photographs, or the tears. It would ask one brutal question. Can you do it again? That is the pressure waiting for Eala in America. She is no longer arriving as an unknown young player hoping to surprise someone. Opponents know her name. Coaches know her patterns. Fans know she has already beaten champions. The freedom of being overlooked is disappearing. In its place comes expectation. Washington is the first checkpoint. After that come two major tournaments in Toronto and Cincinnati. Then New York waits. The city where Alex once became a junior Grand Slam champion will see a completely different player return. She will not arrive as a promising teenager. She will arrive with the status, confidence, and expectations of a top 30 player. That sounds powerful. It can also become dangerous. Every victory creates hope. Every loss creates questions. Every Philippine flag inside an American stadium can feel like support. It can also remind Alex how many people are living through every point with her. So what is she really carrying from Manila? Pressure? Pride? Responsibility? Or something stronger than all three? Before leaving home, Alex spoke about the stories fans had shared with her. Those stories reminded her what she represents every time she steps onto a court. That message was not simply a farewell. It sounded like a promise. But promises become difficult when the matches begin. To understand why this journey matters, we have to return to the girl who began with a racket, a family, and no Filipino singles champion showing her the way. Before the flags, the packed watch parties, and the historic victories, Eala was a child discovering tennis in the Philippines. At that stage, the sport was not about rankings, prize money, or carrying the hopes of a country. It was movement, curiosity, a ball coming across the net, and the simple challenge of sending it back. Her family understood sport and gave her support. But even with that foundation, one problem remained. There was no clear path. Alex could not study a long list of Filipino singles champions and copy their journey. She could not watch another woman from the Philippines move from local courts to the highest level of the WTA tour. That example did not exist. If Alex wanted a blueprint, she would have to create it herself. That meant leaving the familiar world around her. She moved to Spain and trained at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca. From the outside, that sounds like the perfect beginning. Elite coaches, strong players, professional facilities, a place connected to one of the greatest champions in tennis history. But opportunity still carries a price. Alex was far from home. She missed normal family routines. She trained in an environment filled with players from countries that already had established systems, major tournaments, and generations of professionals. Every day became a quiet test. Was she improving fast enough? Could she compete with players who had more experience? Would the travel, sacrifice, and time away from home ever produce a result large enough to justify the journey? Nobody could promise her an answer. Alex continued because the dream still felt worth the uncertainty. Then New York gave her the first major sign. In 2022, Alex won the US Open girls singles title. She won 6 matches. She did not lose a set. For the first time, a Filipino player had captured a junior Grand Slam singles championship. The moment looked like an arrival. It was another beginning. Junior success can reveal talent, discipline, and courage. It cannot guarantee success on the professional tour. The senior game is faster. The serves are heavier. The players are stronger. The weaknesses are studied. A teenage champion can enter a professional tournament and discover that every opponent knows how to turn one small mistake into an entire lost set. Alex had to begin building again. She played smaller events. She fought for ranking points far from the largest stadiums. She entered tournaments without large crowds or television attention. Some weeks brought progress. Others ended before the story had time to begin. That is the part of the journey people often miss. They see famous victories and assume the rise happened quickly. They do not see the empty practice courts. They do not see the long flights after early losses. They do not see the hours spent correcting the same movement, the same serve, and the same decision under pressure. Alex continued through all of it, not because success was guaranteed, because she believed a Filipino champion could exist. Then the Miami Open in 2025 changed everything. Alex entered ranked outside the top 100. She was expected to gain experience, compete hard, and leave with a clearer picture of what separated her from the strongest players in the world. Instead, she defeated them. Jelena Ostapenko was a Grand Slam champion. Madison Keys was one of the most dangerous power players on tour. Iga Swiatek had spent years controlling matches from the top of the sport. Alex beat all three. She became the first Filipino player to reach a WTA semifinal. Suddenly, the young woman who had spent years building a path in silence was standing in the center of the tennis world. The Philippines celebrated. The headlines multiplied. The ranking climbed. The question changed. Before Miami, people asked whether Alex could defeat an elite player. After Miami, they asked whether she could do it every week. That is where the pressure became dangerous. Alex lost 4 of her next 5 WTA matches. The victories that looked like the beginning of a revolution became a source of doubt. Every loss created the same uncomfortable question. Was Miami the start of something real? Or was it one perfect week that could never be repeated? A breakthrough can change how people see a player before the player has time to change herself. The opponents now had video. They studied where Alex served under pressure. They watched how she protected the second serve. They searched for the moments when she became impatient. They no longer prepared for her as a talented young player who might be dangerous. They prepared for her as a threat. That was the new reality. Alex had proved that her highest level could defeat champions. Now she had to prove that her game could survive after the tour adjusted. Wimbledon offered the answer. Before the tournament, Alex still needed a major result at a Grand Slam. Miami had shown that she could defeat famous opponents. It had not shown that she could survive several rounds on the biggest stage. She opened against Renata Zarazua. Alex won 6-1 and 6-2. The performance looked controlled. The next match was completely different. Maya Joint won the first set. Alex was suddenly 1 set away from another early Grand Slam exit. The pressure returned immediately. A defeat would not erase Miami, but it would allow the doubts to grow again. Alex fought back. She won the second set, 6-2. Then she took the final set 6-0. That comeback made her the first Filipino player to reach the 3rd round of a Grand Slam in the Open era. It should have felt like freedom. Instead, it made the story even larger. The Philippines was no longer quietly following the results. The country was living through them. Families stayed awake through the night. Fans carried flags into the stadium. Every victory created more belief. Then the draw placed Iga Swiatek in front of Alex again. This was no longer Miami. Swiatek knew exactly what Alex could do. She knew the angles. She knew Alex could take the ball early. She knew one slow start could allow confidence to spread through the crowd. The match would be played on center court. Swiatek entered as the 3rd seed and defending champion. Alex entered as the 29th seed with an entire country watching. There was no safe result. If Alex lost badly, people could dismiss Miami as an exception. If she competed well but lost, the story could become one of courage without a rival. If she won, the expectations surrounding every future match would become even larger. That was the cruelest part. Success had placed Alex inside a story she could never completely escape. Before Miami, a loss was part of development. After Miami, every result became evidence in a larger debate. Before Wimbledon, Alex was building a career. During Wimbledon, she was carrying history. Then the first set became an 84-minute battle. Neither player could escape. Swiatek pushed Alex deep behind the baseline. Alex responded by moving forward whenever the ball landed short. Swiatek tried to control the middle. Alex created angles that pulled her outside it. Every game became heavier. The set passed 1 hour, then 70 minutes, then 80. Alex faced 2 set points. The entire match stood on the edge. This was the moment when fear could have taken control. Alex responded by moving forward. She took the ball early. She trusted the movement that had brought her there. She refused to let the size of the moment decide the rally. The set reached a tiebreak. The score moved to 9 points each. Swiatek had the experience. Alex had the moment. Alex won the tiebreak 11 points to 9. The crowd exploded, but the match was not finished. Many young players survive a dramatic set against a champion, then lose control of the next one. The emotional release arrives too early. The body relaxes. The favorite sees the opening. Alex did the opposite. She became sharper. She returned with more purpose. She stepped inside the baseline. She forced Swiatek to defend before the defending champion could establish control. The second set moved quickly. 1 break became 2. Alex won it 6 games to 2. Then the final ball landed. For a moment, she stood still. Her reaction showed how much the victory meant. She had defeated Swiatek again. Miami was no longer the only evidence. The first victory could no longer be dismissed as one perfect day. Swiatek knew the danger. She understood the patterns. Alex still found another way through. That was the turning point. Miami showed that Alex could create a shock. Wimbledon showed that she could repeat the courage after the shock had changed how the world prepared for her. The victory carried Alex into the 4th round. She became the first Filipino player to reach the 2nd week of a Grand Slam. History was no longer waiting somewhere in the future. It was happening in real time. In the Philippines, the reaction grew beyond anything tennis in the country had experienced before. Families watched together. Fans carried flags. Thousands gathered for the next match. The journey was no longer being followed only by dedicated tennis supporters. Alex had become a national event. That kind of attention can become dangerous. Every fan can feel like another expectation. Every flag can become another reminder that losing will hurt people far beyond the player. But support can create another feeling. Purpose. Pressure says that Alex must win to justify the belief around her. Purpose says that the belief exists because she has already opened something new. The 4th round against Jasmine Paolini revealed how complicated that difference could become. Alex lost the first set 6 games to 4. She fought back and won the second set 6 games to 4. The match entered a deciding set. For thousands watching in Manila, the dream remained alive. Then Paolini took control. She won the final set, 6 games to 3. The Wimbledon run was over. But the defeat did not return Alex to the place she had occupied before the tournament. Paolini ended the match. She did not end the movement surrounding Alex. People still waited for her in Manila. Children still saw her as proof that their country belonged in tennis. Fans still wanted to tell her what the journey meant to them. That is what Alex discovered when she returned home. The celebration was not only about one victory. It was about recognition. People were telling her that they now saw themselves inside the sport. They were telling her that the Philippine flag looked different when it appeared on center court. They were telling her that one player had changed the limits of what they believed was possible. Alex listened. Then she prepared to leave again. Her message before beginning the American hard-court swing revealed the deeper transformation. The stories from fans had touched her. They reminded her what she carries every time she steps onto a court. Her words suggested that she was not running from the expectation. She appeared to be finding a deeper purpose inside it. That is the real change. Alex is no longer playing only to prove that a Filipino can reach the highest level. She is playing in a world where millions have already seen it happen. Wimbledon gave the Philippines a moment. The American hard-court swing will reveal whether Alex can turn that moment into a new standard. Washington is not the destination. It is the first checkpoint. Alex returns to American hard courts with a ranking near the top 30, a season filled with major victories, and a level of attention that did not exist before Miami and Wimbledon. The conditions should suit important parts of her game. The bounce is more predictable than grass. The surface gives Alex time to move forward and take the ball early. Her forehand can pull opponents far outside the court. Her return can change direction before the server has time to recover. Those qualities helped her create history in Miami. Now, they must help her create consistency. Washington will test the reset. Alex must move from celebration back into competition. She must prepare for one opponent, while millions of fans are already thinking about the entire summer. The tournament offers 500 ranking points to the champion. A deep run could strengthen future seeding positions. It could create momentum before the larger events that follow. It could also show that Wimbledon was not an emotional peak followed by a difficult decline. Washington carries another challenge. Alex is expected to play doubles with Venus Williams. The partnership immediately attracts attention. Venus represents one of the greatest careers in American tennis. Alex represents a new audience, a new nation, and a new generation. Their first tournament together produced a quarter-final appearance. Washington gives the partnership another test. For Alex, doubles is more than an additional event. It can become a training ground. The points move faster. There is less time to think. A weak return is punished immediately. Poor positioning leaves open space. Every decision must be clear. Playing beside Venus gives Alex a close view of how an experienced champion manages pressure between points. How quickly does Venus release a mistake? How does she communicate after losing serve? How does she recognize the right moment to attack the net? Those lessons can influence the singles game of Alex. Better reactions at the net can help her finish points earlier. A more purposeful return can create immediate pressure. Shorter rallies can protect energy during a demanding summer. That energy will matter after Washington. Toronto and Cincinnati are both WTA 1000 events, with deep fields and elite opposition. Together, they will test the ability of Alex to solve different styles week after week. One opponent may attack with power, another may defend and wait for impatience. A third may use variety to remove rhythm. Alex will have to solve each style while managing travel, recovery, and increasing attention. By Cincinnati, the challenge may no longer be only technical, it may become physical. Several weeks on the road can reduce movement and place more pressure on the serve. The deeper challenge will be staying emotionally present when every tournament begins to feel connected to one enormous story. This is the hidden difficulty of the American hard court swing. Fans see 4 exciting tournaments. Players experience one long test. Washington, Toronto, Cincinnati, and New York are not separate worlds. Each result affects the next week. A deep run creates confidence. It also reduces recovery time. An early loss creates rest. It may also damage momentum. A painful defeat can follow a player onto the next practice court. A major victory can create expectations before the body has recovered from the celebration. Alex must manage all of it. Then New York waits. The U.S. Open is where Alex became a junior Grand Slam champion in 2022. She won 6 matches without losing a set. At that time, she was a promising teenager creating history for the Philippines. When she returns, the meaning will be different. She will arrive with the status and expectations of a top 30 player. She will arrive after defeating Grand Slam champions. She will arrive after reaching the second week of Wimbledon. She will arrive with Filipino fans across America waiting to see her. The city that once introduced Alex as a junior champion may now reveal how close she is to becoming a true contender. That creates a powerful circle. But circles can become traps. The memory of 2022 cannot win a match in 2026. The emotion of Wimbledon cannot return a serve in New York. The pride of Manila cannot protect a break point. Alex must turn every feeling into preparation. That is the pattern behind this rise. Miami showed the peak. Wimbledon showed repeatability. Manila showed impact. The American hard court swing must show endurance. That may be the most important step of all. A young player can create one unforgettable tournament with courage and momentum. An elite player must survive month after month. Different cities, different opponents, different kinds of pressure. The greatest advantage Alex received from returning to Manila may not be emotional excitement. It may be clarity. After a historic Wimbledon run, Alex could have become trapped inside the attention. She could have started playing to protect the new image around her. Instead, the stories from fans reminded her why the attention exists. They connected fame to purpose. That mental reset may help Alex accept the next loss without believing that the entire journey has changed direction. It may help her understand that one difficult week cannot erase the path already opened. Washington will test the reset. Toronto and Cincinnati will test the level and recovery. New York will test everything. By the time Alex reaches the U.S. Open, the question will no longer be whether one Filipino player can create history. The question will be whether she can keep expanding it. So what is Alex Eala really carrying from Manila into America? Not a demand to win every match, not a promise that every tournament will end with a trophy. She is carrying proof that her journey has already changed what people in the Philippines believe is possible. Before Alex, Filipino tennis fans could admire champions from other countries. They could watch Grand Slam finals and dream about seeing their own flag on the biggest courts. Now they do not have to imagine it. They have seen Alex defeat Grand Slam champions. They have seen her fight through the second week of Wimbledon. They have seen thousands gather to watch one tennis match together. They have seen young children hold rackets because someone from their country finally made the path feel real. That is what travels with Alex. It is not only pressure, it is memory. It is identity. It is the knowledge that every court in Washington, Toronto, Cincinnati, and New York can become a small piece of home when Philippine flags appear in the crowd. That support cannot win points for her. It cannot improve a first serve. It cannot erase fatigue after several difficult weeks on the road. But it can remind Alex that one loss does not destroy the journey. That may be the most important lesson she carries into the American hardcourt swing. Professional tennis is cruel because progress is never permanent. A player can defeat a champion one week and lose in the first round the next. A ranking can rise quickly and fall just as fast. Confidence can disappear during one difficult service game. Alex will experience setbacks. Washington may become a breakthrough. It may become an early exit. Toronto may reveal another level in her game. Cincinnati may expose the physical cost of the schedule. New York may create another historic moment. It may also show how much work remains. None of those outcomes can be guaranteed. But one thing has already changed forever. Eala can no longer return to being the player nobody sees coming. The tennis world knows her. Opponents study her. Fans wait for her matches. Young players follow her path. Now she must learn how to live inside that attention, without allowing it to control her. That is the real journey from Manila to America. It is not simply a flight across the Pacific. It is the movement from possibility to responsibility, from surprising the world to being expected to compete with it, from carrying a private dream to representing something millions of people now share. Alex does not need to win every match to honor that responsibility. She needs to continue, to adjust, to recover, to walk onto the next court with courage, even after the previous result hurts. That is how history becomes more than one moment. It becomes a standard. From Manila to America, Eala carries a flag, a memory, and a future that did not exist before her. The next question is how far she can take it. Will Washington begin another historic run? Will New York complete the circle that started with her junior title? Or will this summer reveal that the next level demands even more? The answer will not arrive in one match. It will be written across every American hard court Eala steps onto next.